Good morning, friends, and welcome to Wednesday, November the 5th, 2025. I'm going to get used to doing this date thing again as far as remembering what day of the week it is.
Good morning,
I
friends,
promise.
and welcome to Wednesday.
So, what all's going on today? Well, by the title of the show that you see in the description there, let me get over here. We're going to talk about the evolution of things, right? And I'm not talking about evolution as a concept, brought about, let's see, what's happening in this moment, guys, is again, I know we'll talk a little bit more about this in a few, but I had a great conversation with my pal Brandon Ruley, who has Storm Track 360 yesterday, and he gave me some great suggestions, and I'm implementing them. So hopefully everything will go smooth because it's really neat stuff. So, with that said, I'm going to get that out of here. I just did a thing that he had suggested. Let me see. Something sounds a little wonky in my ear, but I don't know what that is. Okay, I'm not sure. I think it should be okay. Anyway, do things sound okay? Let's see here. I'm looking to see if the chat is working inside of Restream. This is part of the evolution of things. And stick around because this actually has some weight and worth for you. Now, I kicked off a little early today on purpose. I'm going to be doing some networking to the north. And I'll talk about that here in just a second, too. Okay, for some reason, the chat's not loading, but that'll work itself out. Again, the evolution of things, right? So, anyway, looking at what all's going on nationally, we'll get to that in a second. I do know that the U.S., we are winning the gold medal in partisan politics. Congratulations to the United States government. Good job. 36 days. It's the record now. Wow. Another headline or talking point that's buzzing around is all this talk from the political, from our elected leaders in regards to angels, demons, aliens, and interdimensional beings. This is mainstream news now, coming from our elected officials. Let me move this. It's kind of bugging me. But anyway, so all that interesting stuff is happening, and I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole right now because we're going to. I don't know. I just want to talk to you for a little bit as far as the evolution of what's happening with the podcast. And again, I had a great conversation with Brandon, and he shared some insights with me from his own personal experience, which he has done amazingly well and great with Storm Track 360. And having watched that grow and evolve, just as a spectator, has been just appreciated. And as a guy who's done this type of stuff before, highly respected then because I understand the work that goes into all this, and he and his crew do an amazing job when it matters most. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So if you are not following the Storm Track 360 page on Facebook or his website or any of the other outreaches that he has, take the time to make a note, get the notifications. It's important. Okay, this note I'm not going to show you because that's for a different day. But looking at my notes over here, the big thing when I talk about when I'm mentioning the evolution of things is doing a podcast again and being with my mug on the camera here and on your screen. I wanted it's just in my nature to do this thing. It just is. I'd never wanted to be on camera. I loved radio. Radio was awesome because radio, if you didn't comb your hair, nobody knew. And nowadays, I find myself having to comb my hair with a hat because of genetics and an interesting design flaw, is the way I see it when it comes to thinning of the hair. But that all said, I want to put, I'm a firm believer in like teaching people how to do these things. And I speak specifically to like in the radio and television days when that was my professional career and I'd have to train someone. And then in some classroom stuff I had done with people and doing workshops is before you crack the mic open, have a why. Why am I talking to you? Well, that's kind of funny on mine because when I pose myself that question, why am I talking to you? Why should you care? Why do I um, ask you for your time to join me? Well, I'm a firm believer, and it's just ingrained in me now. When it comes to the purpose of broadcasting, there are two tenets: to inform and entertain. And I just can't shake that. I can't not do that with my life. And here we are again to inform and entertain, but I want to do it a little different. I got to break some of the old habits that just aren't relevant anymore. There's things I would love to see. It would be fun and easy to go back into a very structured broadcast environment. You still have to have structure, but you don't need the environment anymore. And meaning that you don't need all the peripherals that go along with it. So I was in my own way with that. Now I'm not, but I do still need structure. And so getting into the structure of things, I don't I know there's been commentary in regards to like, why are you talking about just the national stuff? Well, that's just being sloppy at the moment because it's going to evolve to where what I'm working on is the equation to take our local regional area, right? And that to me is we go south, east, west, and north. We're all sewn together around here, kids. You like that? See what I did there? You know how northeast, west, and south spells news, which is, I think, accidental more so than ever on purpose, northeast, west, south. But anyway, I like sewn together better because everyone around here, whether you're in Harrison or Hollister and Branson, or you're down in Jasper or anywhere in Newton County, or if you're over in Yellville, Flippin, Mountain Home, Green Forest, Berryville, Eureka, we all are really we're in a good spot, but we're also pretty tied together in a lot of the things that happen. So now, how does one go about creating a podcast, a broadcast that has enough appeal for the region? It's tricky. It is. It's true, but it is easier now than it ever was because, like back at TKO, when I would gather up all the news from the areas and put it together, it it was more time consuming than it is now. I mean, literally, one of the things that I'll say that I've got ChatGPT doing for me is news aggregation, and it does a very good job at that now. I had to fix it. I had to tweak it. I had to get the prompts straight to get it in line to do the job. Once again, we're training the AI. The AI is not training us. Okay. And it can be the tool that you need it to be. Um, and at this point in time, it's not going to be taken over because humans are still too important to the equation. That's it. That doesn't mean it won't change and evolve over time, but as of right now, um, the artificial intelligence programs out there cannot operate without a human. It's not happening. And when it comes to the computational power to make that happen, I don't know. I know there's a lot of talk from the Elon Musks of the world and Nvidia and other countries, and it is going to be a thing. I mean, it's going to be just as normal and natural as driving a car, using a microwave oven, even turning on the radio and the television. All ginormous leaps in technological advancements. And AI will eventually, because there are certain things that have actually been in play that we, the consumer, really didn't know what was happening unless you were really looking at it. Me, I was paranoid, so I was always looking. But with that said, though, if you use it properly, you can do good things like any other tool. So that said, I'm trying to implement this to where it can help time because time is the biggest thing, which is another aspect of what I wanted to talk to you about. I'm watching the clock a lot today because I got to wrap this up. So I started a little early. Got a thing, a little networking thing that I want to go to. And so I'm going to do that. And Alicia and I are going to go say hi and meet some people today just because we don't get out nearly enough. And we're going to work on changing that. So we're doing that. It'll be fun. But in taking care of time and being able to put together a broadcast that matters and looking, I'm a firm believer in serendipity. I'm not a religious type. Okay. Now, this phrase kind of came to me this morning. I'm not the religious type. I'm more superstitious with faith than anything else. It's like I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, in my mind and perspective, there is a creator that made it all. Have some ideas when it comes to how certain aspects work, but I don't know it all. That's why I do my best not to stand too tall on any kind of religious front or teachings on purpose. Um, just because it's safe. It's not a matter of being safer for your impression of me. It's more about me not telling you something wrong and getting you screwed up, because that happens, because it's happened to me, and I don't want that. So with that said, and what I did, and I bring this up, is talking about timing, because timing and consistency are like so remarkably important in everything we do in life. If you don't show up on time at work, what happens? Well, people get upset. You do it too often, then you're not going to show back up at that job, and it ain't going to be by your choice. So I like this coffee, but in that serendipitous, if you're familiar with the word serendipity and serendipitous, things just kind of lock in at the right time. That's my superstition, right? But there's been this morning it was great because I woke up and I got two things I do in the morning. I've got a daily Bible reading app. It's great, and just now getting back into it because I drifted, and now I'm getting focused back in and forgot how helpful that truly is. And then the other thing is my blog over at jimbumgardner.com. And with WordPress, there's the app that kind of allows you to run everything on your phone or whatever. Anyway, there's a prompt suggestion, a daily prompt that comes across. What was interesting today is that thinking about time, and even from the business standpoint of things, of the services that I'm offering now with evergreen content, that's about time. Time management and producing things in a very fast manner. But when it comes to the serendipity of the morning, it was about the blog post. The prompt was, do you need time? I'm still rolling that one around in my head, how to answer that for the sake of the blog. But we all need time. However, we're only allocated so much, right? And we don't know how much that is. No one does. And not by natural design anyway. Um, so that's a thought. But then looking at the Bible app, it was Proverbs 16:9. And Proverbs 16:9 says, and man, this hit me today so well. We can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps. Now, for me, the way I take that is that, sort of like the saying, the best laid plans of mice and men. I've had so many instances where I can map out everything over here on a to-do list or an agenda or whatever, and I know this is what I need to do. But then things come up that are completely out of my control, I have no choice but to follow those things. I've got to take care of those, and my plans come second. And that's not necessarily saying that all external forces are going to override what I'm doing. Nope. Instead, there are just certain things. You ever been pulled or led to do a thing, even when you're like, I don't really want to do that, but then that little voice says, "Go do it now." And you're like, okay, and you do, and then you find out that there was a much bigger reason you did it and why you continued to do it. And it made no sense. But at the end of the day, it wound up making a lot of sense, more than you could have imagined. Hmm. Again, maybe that's just that kooky, spooky, superstitious thing that I believe in fully, because it's just happened too many times for it to ever be coincidence or chance. Now that I don't believe in. So now that all said, here's where we are. And watching the podcast today, and in the probably the rest of the week, and hopefully for like ever. But the main thing is right now what's happening is you're watching the evolution of a podcast. Now, if I sat down with you and you and I were going to put together a podcast for you, I could walk you through that so fast, because it's simple and I can guide you. In this instance, with the exception of the tips and tricks that Brandon shared with me, most of this is on me, right? I got to motivate me and keep me and be my own client. And here's the funny thing, I kind of went down this rabbit hole yesterday thinking about that. Isn't it interesting how when you're doing something for someone else, it seems so much easier, but if you try to do it for yourself, it just seems like roadblock after roadblock, can't do it, can't get her done, and it stumbles, right? Well, deep diving into the psychology of all of that, the thing is that what's happening, and if you test this yourself, no matter who and what you do, like you're the roofer with the leaky roof, the biggest thing is we're confusing our own minds. We are. It's like, uh, And it's universal no matter what you do or who you are. When you start to do something for yourself that you can easily do for someone else, you find yourself, whether you realize it or not, confusing yourself. Because on one hand, you're doing the thing you know how to do with your eyes closed. But on the other hand, doing it for yourself, you're holding yourself to a higher standard in certain ways. Because if I'm talking to you about what you want to do, I can help you alleviate, and anyone for this matter, so if they really, if you're working with someone, you can alleviate that need of perfectionism that we think we have to achieve to. See, when you work with someone, like say you hire anyone, doesn't matter, and they're learning and they're doing and they're getting frustrated because it's just not perfect, you'll look at them and say, "You're gonna get it. You're gonna be fine." And then your expertise is going to allow for you to shift how you train them and make them better at what they're doing and give them their confidence. Well, in the situation where you're doing something for yourself, it's you having to do both. What? You have to motivate and encourage yourself and be kind to yourself and forgiving as you would someone else. Huh. That was a big bing, 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 bing for me yesterday. Because when you look at it and you can name it, you can tame it, and you can see it, you're like, okay, that's pretty cool. I got that. Huh. All right. There you go. So that's kind of a big thing I wanted to share with you as far as like my own personal experience in this and watching this podcast evolve, because I'm not exactly sure what it's going to look like at the end of the day. I do want to incorporate more pre-recorded video stuffs and features, which I was known for a very long time. I love doing little short stories. I'm a storyteller. I love collecting stories and sharing stories. I enjoy that a lot. I like doing it in different ways, be it from photos or just text or videos, audio, all. I love it all. Multimedia. That's why AMP Multimedia exists, because I couldn't do just one. Not now. I learned too much, enjoyed too much of it, and it all has a purpose that I appreciate and enjoy. There you go. So all of that said, now I am going to do this. I'm going to wrap up probably in the next 5 minutes this morning because I do have somewhere to be. Um, but I wanted to make a note. See, one of the things that, again, in working on putting together a morning news update thing, um, full disclosure, I can't be everywhere all the time. I have to tell myself that now. I've actually kind of learned it. But for years, I could not accept that reality. It wasn't going to happen. I will be everywhere, talk to everyone, and do everything. No, I won't. Could. Wasn't possible. I did a lot of it, but I couldn't be everywhere at all times. So now then, I'm using the tools to make it happen. Now, here's the thing, and I want to throw this out because this is very, very, very important. When it comes to using, and this is the same thing with search engines, like with Google and everything, when you would search out something and you get the websites, those are kind of shaky nowadays as far as search results, but using the large language model AI programs like Gemini or Grok or ChatGPT, and it does a search for you because that's all it's really doing. Um, I got to give a shout out because when you use, I know ChatGPT specifically, when you're looking for like local information for this region from Harrison to Branson, hands down, the best source that the AI is sourcing is coming from New Country 102.9. I don't know. I keep calling it KHOC. Um, Am I confused on that? Didn't they change the I don't know. You know who I'm talking about. 102.9, the biggest signal around, and they do a great job. And they're still as close as you can call a mom and pop outfit as far as broadcasting goes outside of Reynolds Media. And that's hard and incredibly difficult to find nowadays. It's normally conglomerations. I shout them out because Scott McCauley is still doing a fantastic job um, gathering and getting the news. And far as I know, he's one guy still, and that's no easy feat. So, hats off to you, Scott, and props. And so, if you don't know what's going on in the area and it's not showing up in your social media feed, go to their website, New Country 102.9, and their family of stations, because I think a lot of it's kind of just redundancy when it comes to the news stuff, redundancy in more than once, than it not being a negative term. But in that, you can find local information, and it's pretty current on most things, and it's a well organized ship. So I salute you and I thank you. And I will be pulling from your stuff because, well, I have to. I don't know where else to look. So, New Country 102.9.com. Check them out. Or 1029.com. We're not say the point in there. Anyway, but the big thing that I saw though is here's some good news, right? Veterans Week is kicking off in Branson today, and that's a big to do. Goes from November 5th through November 11th. Brings a lot of people to the area. Shows respect for those who put the effort in to do what the military needs to do to keep things running. Right, right. Anyway, I am looking at the clock on the wall and on the computer. It is 8:15 this Wednesday, November the 5th. This was fun. I enjoyed it. I hope you did. I hope you got a little something from it this morning. And I hope to bring you more like that every day. But I got to go because I got a place to be and it takes a little bit to drive there. So as you can see, though, I'm going to continue to do my best part to encourage you to really get a hold of that internal spark that is you, that you may have lost contact with. And when you're in business or civic organizations or a hobbyist or whatever you need to grow with, and you need to create the content that keep you relevant and keep you out there. We all got to do it now, right? Anyway, there are two in the links, which I got to find out in the description how well the links work today. Doing a new thing. But anyway, if you go to the Note Post, if you don't see it. Anyway, you can get my 3 keys to content creation workbook. It's a PDF you can download. It's going to help you brainstorm, organize, and put together a schedule that works. And then also the 8-hour video workshop that I put together many years ago, but the foundation will never change. If you are wanting to do video, scripted stuff, it will help walk you through the Act 1, Act 2, Act 3 process to be able to tell the story, that it's your story. But when you understand the language of how to put it together, it makes the story even better. So, all that said, and then of course, oh, the book of the day. I forgot to put a book up, but I got a lot of them right here. What's a fun one? What's a fun one? What is this? No, not that one. I've done that one already. Don't worry, I've got more books. And I don't want to just plug my book, which you can, because actually I'm going to use this one again. But you can get my book. Amazon links are there. You can buy directly from me. Links are there. Go to my websites, blah, blah, blah. But this one, once again, because this one is a very powerful book, Stephen Pressfield's The War of Art. And it's not just for artists per se. All of us have this little voice that shows up in our head telling us what we can't do, you shouldn't do, you're wasting your time. And Pressfield has names it resistance with a capital R. And I tell you, when you read this book and kind of reframe your brain around that concept of naming resistance as the thing holding you back, you can face it a whole lot better because it never goes away. We all face it every single day. Some of us deal with it better than others, and some days are easier than others, but we're always in that battle. And the war of art is a great way to help get past that. And I know it's helped me tremendously, but I gotta go. I gotta scoot. I had so many other things I wanted to do, but the most important thing is we got to chat. And you're going to see a whole lot more fun, consistency, and information and entertainment from Amp Multimedia and myself and Alicia and Caitlin, all of us, and you. That's who I really want to see. So we'll chat again soon. I got to go. I'm going to do another thing that Brandon had suggested I do. So till the morn, have a good one, guys.